this part will be very speculative. I just would like to broaden the perspective and just put together some fantasies. However, behind the fantasies, there's also some argumentation. We'll be just voicing over the slides on the topic, and they're not. They are just there to tap on the possibilities and opportunities. Back in 1950s, right? Watch on the wrist was something like must have for a portion of the population. In 2010s, mobile phone is must have. So this is something like, okay, I need a phone. And in 10 years, the idea of the stimulus response training will be also similarly as the mobile phone or the watch, there in front of our minds. And it will be common belief that this is something as necessary as a mobile phone. And in the past, in the history, we did have enough examples when some concept or idea became the must-have idea and widely broadly shared. Prayers are must-have, beginning of the 20th century. Recently, 2020s, meditation is must-have. So meditation is like, okay, you don't do meditation, you go to TED Talk. Every TED Talk starts, okay, let's do a bit of a meditation. Every second TED Talk is about meditation. Meditation is the hype. In 2030s, the stimulus response training will be the hype, will be the must-have, and it will be there an established trend, similarly to veganism or vegetarianism today, or the ideas of saving the planet. Short version of the picture that potentially you have seen already before in some other slides here. There are layers. There's a layer of apps, operating system, then there's a BIOS, and there's hardware. If we just use the same analogy when talking about a human being, we have the coaches, therapists, whoever bring the content. We do have the platforms on where all that content is stored and exists. We do have the human brain, which is the final hardware, but we don't have the proper system that would connect all the content and ensure that it lands on the hardware. That's the stimulus response trainer that we're talking about here. And we don't compete with coaches, therapists, with any platforms. No, we just replace all existing inefficient ways to load the current content onto the human brain. We don't even reinvent much here because there are already many programs that help people train their reactions. Basically, in 90% of cases, these are all focused on learning the foreign language or preparing for the exams, but they are completely unutilized for a broader area of topic. This is about a new norm. It's not about a new app, right? There are already today millions of mobile apps, and there's a complete overload for a customer yet to digest another app. And assumption here is that the stimulus response training is a change on a more fundamental dimension. I like the story about this guy, Luther King. Sorry, Martin Luther. Yes, of course, not Luther King. Who basically started significant change just by formulating and bringing the attention to a list of standard and basically well formulated principles. I think that this is the right time to redirect our attention also to a very simple one-page list of important principles that should be followed. And that's about a new norm, right? It's not about anyhow a technology. and it's about shifting the way we think on topics which we observe on daily basis. There is already enough um, quantitatively rich information that just requires a, you know, the short punch to throw it over the tipping point, so we switch really the way we think about training ourselves and about transforming ourselves. So it's not new, about the new norm. It's not about content. It's really about the new norm. It's not about content. If we again return to, this layers approach, the statement here is that we can formulate multiple layers and basically state that the size of impact on society changes from layer to layer. Yes, if the ruling party changes, there is some impact, but it's less than if the laws change. And the change of the laws basically brings smaller change compared to the change of constitution. And then you can, continue this path as, argue that technology transformations and big technology, the big breakthrough in technologies, they bring a significant change to the society. The change in social institutions, especially, such radical things as switching from communism to capitalism and so on as an ideology, changes of the religion and the drift towards atheism that brings with it enormous change in culture and core values. Now the question is, what's the impact of changing our beliefs about our automatic reactions? And assumption is that the change is the biggest. There's a great book about narrative economics and how narratives impact the society. And the narrative around our ways to adjust our automatic reactions is a narrative that has the strongest potential, I would argue. If we say, and if there's a narrative that really um, reaches the mind of people in a similar way as the narrative of being vegetarian or vegan or being um, mindful about the environment reaches the people in a form such as it's formulated here. For example, I can change my own reactions by first specifying the ones I want, second, training them, and this is fast and easy, and doing that it will bring the biggest value to me and the society. If this kind of a narrative really spreads around, my argument is that the impact on the society will be transformational.